Greetings, fellow Terrans. Professor McKee here with the next episode for our Academy Let's Play. And, well, we successfully defeated this fleet and station on Undina. However, their mine is still, well, a tough nut to crack. I need either a very good fleet for bombardment, which I don't have, or I need lots of Marines. So I'm building a temporary station in orbit with a whole bunch of Marine modules to assist in breaking this down and assaulting it. And then once that's done, I can redirect my fleets to attack the other two outer asteroid belt bases. There's one at Bettina, and there's one at Lumia. They're well defended, so I need to send a pretty large fleet, and I'm very confident that if I were to send my current 45 battlecruiser fleet over to attack one of the other two asteroid belt bases, I would experience an attack on this temporary station I built. So I'm building Marine ships. And building Marine modules so I can assault the base down, because bombarding didn't really work. You need a lot better armor. I just don't have that. Meanwhile on Earth, well, I need more mission control to expand my fleets. And I'm picking up lots of countries in Europe, because with the Tier 3 administrative module, I really should have probably prioritized that more. I'm picking up all sorts of things here.
Please, keep me safe.
So I have a whole bunch of, I have Austria, I have what's left of Italy, oops. I have United Kingdom. I'm working on Sweden. I'll be working on Turkey as well. And I can do that same trick of ceding territory with Turkey, as it should reduce it by 1 control point when I do that. So plenty of growth in Europe, and that'll improve my mission control capacity. And of course, I'm also growing the economies of these smaller countries. It'll improve unrest, and with more higher GDP, you get more mission control. So I'll be able to do that. All right, so let's get started. Okay, I finished magnetic nozzles, which this is important for a ton of drives. The first drive I'm going to be going for fusion is Triton Reflex. This is a fairly cheap one that you can always get before you specialize. In order to specialize, I'm going to go with the tokamaks, going for Z-pinch or inertial confinement. One of those three can give you a drive you can use for most of the late game. Of course, I have to do all three, but I'm going to go for tokamaks first. Okay, so this is a kind of an advanced technique. Bolivia is the country that will have all of the claims on South America, one of the mega nations, and Bolivia has a lot of inequality. It's pretty bad. Looks like an event shot it up to 6.7 when it was originally down at more like 3.6. But if you have a revolution, a natural revolution, by increasing unrest, you get a reduction in inequality. Got a 0.11 this time. It's better if you have higher public opinion. It does cause economic damage, but this country is in pretty bad shape, so the economic damage isn't going to be that bad. It's the warfare and disasters, I believe. So what I'll be doing is working on fixing up Bolivia a little bit. I have the excess capacity to do it. And I'll trigger a couple of revolts just to get the inequality to something more manageable, to the point that we have a cohesion of that's not negative. All right.
What's the up? I'm on your side.
Then the other thing I wanted to point out, there we go. So I'll upgrade these. I have the shaped nukes, which I believe I already demonstrated them. The sticks, which I just finished researching, is the best shaped nuke torpedo out there. It costs a little bit of volatile, or it costs a little bit of exotics, but it's quite a bit better than Tartarus. We have 9.5 delta V versus 9, but yes, so the blast cone will fall off. It'll blast you farther, so if they get destroyed by point defense, well, it's 200 kilometers versus 150 kilometers. So I'll be upgrading my ships to the final level of missiles. So I finished building a new fleet in Mercury. 8 ships of coil guns, 8 ships of green arc lasers, then 1 flagship as support. This time it is marked as a non-combat ship. And it's hopefully enough to at least do some damage at their other secondary base, Bettina. So it'll arrive in June. Let's head out. Okay, so I triggered another revolt, and I reduced the inequality by 1, caused 425 million in damage. Given how poor this country is, the damage is not very much, and it quickly gets us to a better level of inequality. You can see our cohesion now is resting state of 2 instead of -1. Okay, so fleet logistics complete. Well, all these projects are very good for mission control, and better officers. Now, in terms of better weapons or ships, yeah, phased array lasers are the kind of the last upgrade to get. So we'll go with that. Tokamak complete. That'll be my main series of drives and engines. And to keep advancing that, deuterium helium was the next one on that chain. You need that, then a neutronic, then proton. And colony cap's done. This will let you get the tier 3 for outposts for mining bases. It also will let me get interplanetary politics. Independent habitats will reduce mission control. Again, mission control is really useful for things out in space. Our Bettina attack fleet has arrived, and they are targeting us with a larger fleet, but it's a lot of smaller ships. So I can hopefully win this. We'll see. Just let them attack me. All right. Okay, so I'm going to leave some of my laser ships behind because there was a lot of big, slow ships that I would prefer to use my coils on. 3 coils on you. 3 coils on you. And the last 2 coils. On the first battlecruiser. And the lasers will be in attack mode to make sure they hit anyone who's flanking. Alright, let's begin. Why? Oh. Alright. Not sure what the collision could be, but okay. Oh, what the battle cruisers were doing, charging forward. Might lose this fight because of that. Okay, that went pretty badly. I somehow managed to win at the end with auto-resolve. But my fleet is pretty much wrecked. Right. And I have no KPS. Okay, is that enough to get to high orbit? Yes. It's just barely enough. So I'm going to try to build a station here, resupply, and I'm going to build another fleet. But now I can use fusion. So take that off, take that off. Take that off. So, tier 3 coils, which will cost some exotics. And do Tyrian reflex, which unlocked before Triton reflex, so I'll take it. Why not? I do not need that much propellant. Yeah, that should be good. I have rebuilt a new design, basically with a better engine. I now have a kind of basic fusion engine, Deuteron reflex, and mirror cell. I'll get over to tokamaks eventually, quickly. Also does siege coil 3 instead of siege coil 2. Uses some exotics. Okay. And I'll make a laser version too. They have repaired and they've come back to finish off my initial strike. I'm just going to auto-resolve. My fleet's so banged up it can't really win this fight. Yep. Alright, so I've gathered enough Marines, along with the orbital, to have a 100% chance to assault Obsidian Tower, their mine. So let's do it. Okay, so our assault is successful. We've acquired a Griffin corpse. It's kind of avian-like. It's a different species from the Hydra. Probably not the same planet. We captured a living Griffin. They're clearly controlled by the Hydra. Not surprising, given Hydra mind control type things. We captured a salamander alive. They are much more aggressive than the griffins. We captured a war dog, which is war dog. And we destroyed the base. This is a pretty good base for metals and precious metals, so I found a base, a mine here. So I have successfully taken Undina, and on my large fleet, along with all the Marines, and it's quite large, are going to go for our next target, Lomia. It'll take them 41 weeks to get there, but when they do get there, they'll hopefully be able to win that fight. And if not, I'll just build more ships. Okay. This event chain, the war dog, a live war dog, probably one we captured at that mining site we seized, has escaped. Because of course it has. Let's try to improvise armor. Nope, that didn't work. Part 2 of the alien on the loose in our xenology science station. And we're just going to pull the plug on this. Alright, we got it. It's dead. Now, let's rebuild my station here. Alright, so aliens decided to attack Earth with a decently large fleet, but I have a ton of missile escorts to defend. And I will be doing auto-resolve. Yep. Easily won that. And I'll move them back. The escorts are faster, so they were able to reach the station before the aliens. And that is why I didn't have the rest of the fleet with it. Okay, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about strategy here for mines. I have the Tier 3 module for making everything Tier 3, and I have the Tier 3 colony mining complex. So this does increase your mining, but it takes 160 days to build. It costs a lot of resources. So you need to be careful about this because your mine will stop producing if you build it. So if I go in and build it, see my water and volatiles drop a lot. That's because this is this mine on series, which produces mostly water and volatiles. So don't upgrade too quickly. Because if you do, you might run into some resource issues. Okay, so I'm upgrading them. There's a case to be made that you don't want to upgrade to the Tier 3 mines because they're so expensive. You lose resource production for close to half a year. And if you're close to winning the game, don't bother. Now, I'm not really that close because I'm taking things kind of slow. But depends on your game situation. All right, let's finish out this year. So I'm going to be using the sea territory trick again. Turkey has 3 regions. Istanbul and its other region add up to over 2 trillion. So it's going to drop a little down to 3. And the initiative spot just disappears. The year is almost over. And things are going great on Earth. I have full control over Russia. I now have full control over India. I'm moving on South America, although South America is not very valuable. So making a ton of progress down on Earth. In space, well, we successfully got rid of one of their stations. Now, they are trying to rebuild it, but I have a fleet that I am building over in Mercury using Lancers, because I now have fusion engines to power them. And that fleet will go over and smash over to their newly built station. I've got, in May, a very large fleet attacking their main asteroid base. And then in March, a fleet attacking again Bettina. Hopefully this time it'll work better. And if with those two bases defeated, they're pushed back, and they're gonna have a harder time launching attacks inside the inner solar system, which means we can start pushing out towards Jupiter. And because of the resources Jupiter has, they're great. Once we take this, we will basically have one. We will still have to mop them up and push them all the way back to the Kuiper Belt and beyond before they'll really admit defeat. But taking Jupiter and holding it, because of the enormous resources you gain from it, is a big milestone, and one that effectively wins the game for you. So we'll be moving on Jupiter soon, in probably a couple more episodes. So hope you enjoyed. If you did, please comment, like, and/or subscribe so that others can find it too. See you next time.